This is one of the most important skills to learn in cybersecurity. Hi, my name is Sandra and I make videos all about cybersecurity and tech careers, and in this video I'll be covering a very important skill, and that is identity and access management, or typically referred to as IAM. So I know in cybersecurity there are lots of different specializations that you can go into, but one area that I think will follow you no matter where you go in cybersecurity is everything that goes to identity and access management. Whether you're an entry-level cybersecurity analyst, or if you're a senior security engineer or a security architect, this is something that will need to be considered in every single project that you work on, especially when it relates to people, applications, and other permissions and roles, which is probably about 99% of applications out there. So first things first, what exactly is IAM, or Identity and Access Management, from a cybersecurity perspective? Identity and Access Management refers to the processes, policies, and technologies used to manage and control digital identities and their access to various different resources across an organization's network or system. In cybersecurity, IAM plays a crucial role in making sure that the right individuals have the right level of access to the right resources, not to mention at the right time, which of course leans into what access a user has, the level of that access, as well as how long they'll have that access for. For example, is it for a project duration, or is it for 6 months, or is it for 1 year, or whenever your company's policy is to renew or revoke permissions. Usually this tends to be around the 1 year mark, but of course for more sensitive information or applications, this will look a little bit different. So the primary pillars of IAM that you'll hear about are often going to be identity, authorization, and authentication. Identification is exactly what it sounds like. It is identifying an individual, an application, a resource, usually with some kind of unique identifier like a username or an ID, email addresses, etc. Authentication is verifying that the individuals are who they say they are, whether it's a user trying to connect a service account, an application. This is usually done using passwords, multi-factor authentication codes. Authentication helps ensure that only authorized individuals get access to certain assets or information. And last but not least, once your identity is authenticated, the authorization piece determines what level of access or permissions that you actually have. For example, if you are only allowed read-only access into a specific application, or if you have read and write access, or maybe you have admin permissions where you're allowed to create users, delete users, etc. This also involves defining and enforcing policies that specify what resources a specific identity, whether it's a person or an application, can access, and what actions that they can perform with that access. So what kinds of certifications are out there for those of you who may be interested in going into a role that needs a strong foundation in IAM? The 3 certifications I recommend looking into are CIAM, the Certified Identity and Access Manager certification, the CAMS, the Certified Access Management Specialist, and the CDP, the certification in data protection. These 3 certifications and others around IAM are offered by the Identity Management Institute, or IMI, who is also the sponsor of today's video. The Identity Management Institute is the first and leading global organization that pioneered identity and access management certifications in 2007. IMI offers 9 cybersecurity-related certifications focusing on identity and access management, data protection and privacy, identity theft prevention and compliance, and metaverse security. IMI manages various professional discussion groups on LinkedIn, publishes the Identity Management Journal, and maintains one of the leading blogs in identity and access management. Going in depth into these 3 certifications, the CAMS certification, or the Certified Access Management Specialist certification, focuses specifically on access management, which is one of the information security disciplines that interacts with users and is critical to implementation of policies and procedures to support the security goals of an organization, along with mitigating access risks, maintaining access controls, and complying with contractual and legal agreements. The CIAM certification, or the Certified Identity and Access Manager cert, focuses overall on the implementation of IAM as a whole across an organization. Identity and access management is one of the most important disciplines of information security, where your goal is to manage user identities and their access to enterprise resources and data. IAM governance and programs help manage user identities and also help enforce what they can't access, and do so within the system through authentication, authorization, and accounting to prioritize business investments, close compliance and control gaps, and identify process improvements to reduce costs. And finally, the CDP certification, or being certified in data protection, is a comprehensive global training and certification program which leverages international security standards and privacy laws to teach candidates about the best data protection practices during the entire data lifecycle, whether it's it's data at rest, data in transit, or being processed. Data protection professionals are increasingly required to be experts in privacy regulations as well as technical and administrative security controls. Data privacy and data security are interdependent, and the CDP program offers one of the best consolidated training programs that teaches candidates about privacy and security concepts. Each certification fee includes an annual membership, a comprehensive study guide to prepare candidates for the certification exam, and up to 3 online exams at no additional cost. The exams have 100 multiple choice questions, and at least a 70% is required to pass the exam and get certified. The IMI industry-leading blog is a great learning resource for identity and access management. To enroll, new members must submit a membership application on identitymanagementinstitute.org/membership-application, and you can get a $20 discount on your membership fee using the code Sandra20. And I'm so excited to hear you guys' experience on enrolling into the program, as well as your experience getting certified. Thank you to IMI for sponsoring today's video, and let's get back to the rest of these topics. So with all of this, why is IAM so important to organizations, whether they're big or small? First things first, IAM is crucial for individuals who are in cybersecurity or privacy spaces, or working in roles related to access control, identity management, or compliance. It helps equip you with the knowledge and the skills to implement effective identity management processes, policies, and procedures, protect digital assets, and protect against unauthorized access and data breaches. So when it comes to protection against unauthorized access, IAM ensures that only authorized individuals can access sensitive resources by implementing strong authentication mechanisms like multi-factor authentication to prevent unauthorized users from getting access into systems that don't align with their job description or their roles. Data security, of course, is another big one. With IAM, companies are able to define granular access controls, which also reduces the risk of data breaches. For example, if there was a malicious actor in your network and they got access into someone's account, even if this account belongs to an active employee of the company, hopefully they are not someone who has access to every single application, every single piece of data that your company owns. Typically, companies will have access management policies in place where users typically only get the bare minimum access that they'll need to do their jobs, which also reduces the number of data breaches if a single employee or user does get their account hijacked or hacked. Number 3, of course, is compliance and regulatory reasons. I really believe every company at one point or another is going to really start focusing heavily on auditing, compliance, and governance. Something else that is really important that isn't really talked about that often is dealing with user provisioning and deprovisioning. For example, what happens when a new person comes into your company? What kinds of default permissions do they have? And of course, what happens when an employee leaves the company? Is all their access terminated? Are their accounts deleted? Are they disabled? Is this a manual process or an automated process? You'd be surprised how much of this user access management tends to be on the manual side, especially for smaller companies or companies with less mature IAM programs. So with this, what are the salary expectations of an IAM professional? Based on salary.com, an identity and access management lead engineer makes on average about $128,000 per year in the US. An identity and access control manager makes on average about $137,000 per year. And an IAM analyst makes on average a salary of about $79,000 per year in the US. So as you can see, the salaries in this space are relatively high, especially when you're looking at more experienced and senior level roles in the field. This typically tends to be the route for specific skills in cybersecurity that are very specialized, and companies hire you specifically for your specialization or being an SME in a specific sector. Most companies have a website, use applications, are managing or starting to manage their applications under SSO, have user permissions, have policies around identity and access management. And even if you're going into a role like a security architect or security engineering role, having this foundational background knowledge in identity and access management will really help take you a long way when it comes to starting conversations with stakeholders in IT or legal or privacy, as well as of course with your customers. So as a fun little experiment, how would you use ChatGPT to learn IAM? So one of the best ways to do this is to start at a very broad high level and then focusing in on specific areas that you want to focus on. For example, I started by asking ChatGPT to make me a learner's guide for identity and access management. And here, as you can see, they've come up with different sections for different areas of IAM that I could start focusing on: principles and concepts, user provisioning, authentication and authorization, identity governance, access management solutions, identity federation, IAM best practices and considerations, security and compliance, user experience and usability, and a few other sectors. Personally, I really enjoyed using ChatGPT as a learning tool, whether it's for learning a new tool or learning a new coding language or anything else that you would like to learn, especially for those of you who may not know where to start. And using this little guide that it's created for you, you can go straight in and decide, hey, what are specific areas I may want to look into? For example, maybe you're really interested in zero trust. This is definitely a big area for sectors like finance and government. So now, as you can see, I'm going a little bit deeper and asking it specific questions on specific topics. For example, what is zero trust and what are the common frameworks? But again, this is honestly the beauty of using a tool like this, because you're able to understand the question that you're asking, even if the wording isn't formulated in 100% the best way. And as you can see, it's listed a few of those common frameworks and models, and then going into those specifically can teach you a little bit more about the areas that you're trying to learn more about. So what are the actual tools that you should learn to get a bit more familiar with IAM? A few popular tools include Okta, Microsoft Active Directory, or Azure Active Directory, depending on where you're working out of, whether it's a data center or a cloud environment, Ping Identity, OneLogin, CyberArk, and Auth0. Keep in mind, there are a lot of IAM tools out there, and it really depends on the company that you're going into for the specific tools that they're using. For example, Okta is a very popular tool nowadays, with more and more companies choosing to use Okta, which is essentially a way to integrate all of your single sign-on into one service. So you've probably seen this in school or at other organizations, where when you log in through one single sign-on portal, you'll be able to connect to every single application in your company's network. There's usually some kind of dashboard that it will provide you to also be able to see the applications that you do have access to under your single sign-on, and RBAC, or role-based access control. So hopefully now you have everything that you need to understand why IAM is so important for all companies, whether they're tech companies, finance companies, government companies, healthcare. Every organization is going to make use of IAM in some way or another, ranging from using a very simple Active Directory all the way to zero trust. So that is it for this video. Let me know if you guys have any questions in the comments below, and I'll be happy to answer them. Don't forget to check out the Identity Management Institute and all of their identity access management certifications that they have available. This is definitely a huge asset to add to your resume and to help boost your career in the direction that you want to go, and this would be a great knowledge foundation builder for those of you going further into your careers. You can use my code Sandra20 to get $20 off your membership fee, and again, I would love to hear your feedback if you do decide to take the certifications that we mentioned in this video. Alright, so that is it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. I post videos every Wednesdays and Sundays at 12 p.m. and hopefully I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!